Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Public Schools Robeson County March Board of Education meeting. This time we'll have the invocation by Terry Locklear.
Mr. Chair, before Mr. Terry Locklear speaks, I'd like to bring it to our attention that I was notified just a few minutes ago that our teacher at Magnolia, Ms. Blanks, went back on the ventilator at 100%. Let's remember her.
Yeah, and
Blanks
also
ransom.
Huh?
Blanks ransom.
Okay. And remember Ukraine and Russia, what's going on there. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Let's bow our heads for a second just to have a moment of silence for what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, and for those that we've lost over the past month. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to come together. Thank you, Lord, most of all, for allowing us, Father God, to have health. And thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be back together. Thank you, Lord, for the public that's come here tonight, Father God. Thank you, Lord, for those that are here that haven't had the opportunity to be here over the last couple of years. Father God, I ask your will be done in this meeting. Lord, lead us as only you can, and let us make the best decisions for the public schools of Robeson County. And whatever is accomplished, Lord, we'll give your name for the praise and glory for it all. In Christ Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Adoption of the agenda.
We'll get used to it in a moment. I'd love for us to add to the agenda to discuss the gas hike and our buses and staffs and everything. Discussion about the gas hike, how it affects our school district.
That's fine. We'll do that before we go into action items.
Okay.
I'm just going to say gas.
Okay.
Brenda.
Okay, that's good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I was asked to, if we would, consider at our next meetings, maybe to put it in the action item, to put it to a vote, to allow public comments earlier on in the minutes.
We can do that. We'll put it on the next month's agenda is what you're saying. Yeah. Fine. Anything else?
Motion to adopt the agenda,
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion by Randy, second by Brenda to adopt the revised agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Motion to approve the open session minutes.
Second.
Have a motion by Randy, second by Brenda to approve the open session minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Information items. 2021 NCSPRA Blue Ribbon Award winner, Dr. Burnett.
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, and board members, I just wanted to bring to your attention that our district won 2 Blue Ribbon Awards at the latest North Carolina School Public Relations Association convention. One being for our publication with the Mental Health Minute. I'll bring up my colleagues, Ms. Jadelle Hawks and Megan Collins, to give you a brief rundown on what that is. It's a publication that we send on a monthly basis to give our stakeholders, our students, and our staff mental health resources.
Thank you. We would like to recognize a few others who have assisted us with writing the Mental Health Minute newsletter. So I would like to share their names with you to give them recognition as well. Ms. Megan Harden, which is school counselor at Oxendine Elementary. Ms. Tanya Chavis, which is one of our interns for school counseling. Ms. Tanya Hunt, which is one of our school counselors at Carroll Middle School. Ms. Erica Boykin was also a school counselor at Lumberton Junior High, and Ms. Elaine Brewington, which is one of our school counselors at Union Chapel Elementary.
The reason we had developed the mental health minutes is to get education out to our parents and our families and how to support them and make it brief as possible, but give them resources and aids in order to make it a lot easier on our children and our families in the community. And all of us collectively as a group in our department take a great pride in writing those mental health minutes each month, and we send it out for our families. And thankful that Dr. Burnett has the opportunity and seen the resource that it was and submitted it to the committee for us on our behalf. Thank you.
Congratulations.
The second award was in electronic media. That was in collaboration with Cole Wilkins and Dr. Robert Locklear. Last year's Read Across America Week, we obviously couldn't go into the schools to read, so we did our own Dr. Seuss video with Dr. Robert reading, and that won a bronze award as well.
Praise God.
So thank you, Dr. Robert. Thank you, Cole.
Awesome.
Next item on the agenda is the name of facility for Fairmont High Gymnasium, Jerome Hunt.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Williamson, Chairman Smith, board members. I'm here tonight representing Fairmont High School and Principal Kent Prater. And I'm here to present the nomination form for naming the Fairmont High School Gymnasium, the Michael D. Baker Gymnasium. You should have the nomination form in your packet. On the nomination form is some of Coach Baker's accomplishments throughout his career and why we feel the gym should be named in his honor. Just a few of the highlights of Coach Baker's career. Coach Baker is affectionately called Coach Bake. Graduated in 1977 from Fairmont High School. He's a Hall of Fame alumni at Roanoke College in Salem, Virginia, with a degree in biology. He is currently in his 40th year of teaching at Fairmont High School in the science department. Coach Baker has served as departmental chairman, school improvement team representative, men's basketball coach, volleyball coach, and has served as the school's athletic director since 1994. That's 28 years. He was named Public Schools of Robeson County Teacher of the Year in 2007 and 8. In 1995, Coach Baker served as the head track and field coach for Team North Carolina, where his team competed in the Penn Relays and World Games. For approximately 16 years, Coach Baker worked with Special Olympics. A local honor for Coach Baker was being named Grand Marshal for the 2016 Fairmont Farmers Festival. After excelling academically and athletically at Fairmont High School, he enrolled at Roanoke College, helping the school to its first ODAC championship and NCAA division tournament bid in 1981. He's recognized as one of the four horsemen at Roanoke who played in both the Division II and Division III national tournaments. He was voted ODAC Player of the Year in 1981, Virginia Small College Player of the Year, and was selected to the South Atlantic All-Tournament team. He was a first-team regional All-American and second-team All-American. At Roanoke, Coach Baker played in all 108 games of his career, where he compiled an 88-20 record and is credited with the resurgence of Roanoke basketball program. He was inducted into the Roanoke Basketball Hall of Fame in 1998. Coach Baker's 1994 varsity boys basketball team were the 2A state champions, and that remains the only basketball state championship at the school at this time. In 2013, they were the Eastern Regional runner-ups. They were conference champions in 2010, 2011. The varsity volleyball team were conference champions in 2007, 2008, and 2011. He's been named Conference Coach of the Year 13 times. Coach Baker has served as a conference president. He served on 4 athletic boards on the state level. He's received the 2004 NCHSAA Athletic Director Award for Outstanding Service in Region 4. In 2011, he was awarded the Homer Thompson Memorial Award, 8 Who Make a Difference. And that award goes to 8 athletic directors throughout the state each year. In 2013, he was presented with the NCHSAA Charlie Adams Distinguished Service Award for Region 4, and he also coached the East All-Star Squad in 2013. Coach Baker has led by example in every aspect of his life and continues to demonstrate high ethical standards in the classroom, athletic forum, and in his community. In recognition of community service and making a difference in the lives of youth, Sandy Grove Baptist Church of Lumberton recognized Coach Baker during its annual Black History celebration. Several of his former players and students have gone on to establish successful careers in education, coaching, military service, among other areas, as a direct result of his impact and example. His advice and words of wisdom continue to drive others around him to pursue excellence in their daily lives and chosen paths. His legacy has been firmly established in the annals of Fairmont High School, his community, the state, and across the nation. In a recent conversation, he was asked the whereabouts of his 1994 2A state championship team. Coach Baker could tell you where every player is at right now, where they live, the contributions that they made to their community, and he could tell you everything about their families. And that says a lot about Coach Baker. His peers and mentees regularly seek his counsel, confirming his status as a walking book of wisdom and history. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Do not go where the path leads. Instead, go where there is no path and leave a trail." Coach Baker has done this very thing, and he has followed his path, created his own story, believed in himself, while quietly, demonstratively preparing the path for others to follow. Let it be known that our sincere wish and hope that this nomination will be met with resounding approval and allow the current Fairmont High School Gymnasium to be named Michael D. Baker Gymnasium. Let me just say that I support this nomination 100%, and I'm sure the Fairmont community will as well. As far as following protocol, I will get with Principal Prater. We'll set up a public forum in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll come back at the April board meeting and ask for your approval to name the gym Michael D. Baker Gymnasium. Any questions?
Dr. Emmanuel?
He was an instrumental leader in Southern Accreditation, for the state and delivering it as we did the schools and work. He became the leader. He is just, I don't know, if I had a young son that I want anyone to feel that I'm going to be mine. He has always been the epitome of leadership in any areas. If there's ever a building, needs to be named after, I would certainly, he would be one that I would absolutely recommend. And this paper does him justice, but it doesn't do him justice because he's a true gentleman.
Randy?
Also, Mr. Jerome, whenever we had riots in our county, Mr. Baker showed up at the high school
He did.
also on the team. So that's very important right there. Just want to add that to what you read.
Yes, ma'am.
You say something? Anybody else? So we just follow protocol and wait for the public. I can tell you right now off the record, I support it 100%
Yes.
personally myself.
Okay.
I've been to a lot of Fairmont basketball games and see how he conducts himself around his kids and students. He's a first-class individual.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Students of Excellence, Valerie Hammond.
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, board members. My name is Valerie Hammond, and this evening we will recognize the senior and junior students of excellence for the 2021-22 school year for each high school. On behalf of the academically, intellectually gifted department and the Chamber of Commerce organizations for Lumberton, Fairmont, Pembroke, Red Springs, and St. Paul's. For each slide, I will read a very small portion of each student's essay and give information about about each student's extracurricular involvement and parents. So we will start with early college, high school. Thank you, Cole. For our senior, we have Luis Pablo Aguirre. Something I will always be proud of is being able to get into early college, high school. I will be able to get my associate degree, and it has opened many doors for me. Last week, I was able to tour the NC State campus and make connections with the admissions team. Also, I've been able to get internships with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And he is the SAVE Club leader, Students Against Violence Everywhere, and a math club member. And his parents are Humberto Pablo and Martina Aguirre. For our junior, we have Grace Padre Rodriguez. My personal goals for the future are not just to succeed, but learn along the way and help others. I know that life isn't always a straight road you can follow, and that it throws obstacles in your way. So my goal is to be capable of overcoming those obstacles, learning from them, and succeeding. She's a math tutor and a teen certified community emergency response team member. Her parents are Wilson Hernandez and Griselle Rodriguez. Next, we have Fairmont High School. Our senior is Caitlin Tyler. We all strive for first, but just placing is an accomplishment. My art awards are accomplishments that I will always be proud of. My latest award was being chosen for the Superintendent's Choice Award, where my art represented Fairmont High School again. These awards encourage me to keep creating art and to never give up. She is the National Art Honor Society President and Beta Club member. Her parents are Travis and Teresa Tyler. Our junior is Hannah Pearson. I plan to attend UNCP and major in the field of elementary education with an academic concentration in Spanish, because it is my passion to teach children and make a great impact throughout my career. I would like to work as an ESL teacher. She's on the Fairmont High School women's bowling team and volunteers to help provide food and supplies to the homeless. Her parents are Reverend Brian McNair and Dr. Miranda Gilchrist McNair. Next is Lumberton High School. Our senior is Belle Merlot. Despite everything that has happened over the past few years, I've managed to climb my way through the ranks, leading me to where I am today. I believe that my greatest accomplishment thus far is becoming chapter president for my local Future Farmers of America chapter. She is a Fellowship of Christian Athletes member and a Robeson Church and Community Center volunteer. Her parents are Murray Bryan and Tara Heasley Bryan. Our junior is Kaylee Chavis. I plan on attending UNC Chapel Hill, where I can continue my love for dance by dancing with the Carolina Girls dance team, and to graduate with a speech language pathology degree. My hope is to work in an environment where I'm able to make a difference in the lives of patients and for the community that I serve. She served as a governor's page in 2021, an American Red Cross volunteer at the Intake Processing Center team. Her parents are Tedrick and Karen Chavis. Next, we have Purnell Sweat High School. Our senior is Trinity Jones. When I become an adult, the biggest difference that I want to make is to spread kindness. I will show the loving kindness that have been forgotten in society. I will start my career as a paralegal and assist citizens who are in need. There are so many people in this world who believe that they don't have a voice. I believe that I am a person who could change that. She tutors children within her community, and she's a volunteer with the Stop the Pain program through Prospect Methodist Church. Her parents are William and Loretta Jones. Our junior is Kylie Cummings. My personal goals for the future include becoming an advanced certified pharmacy technician, and she just passed her pharmacy technician exam. I want to attend the University of North Carolina at Pembroke to obtain a bachelor's degree in pre-pharmacy, then enroll in the doctoral program for pharmacy at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. and she's a member of the Beta Club and National Honor Society. Her parents are Samuel and Amanda Cummings. Next, we have Red Springs High School, and the chamber chose 2 seniors because they were such excellent candidates. So we have Philip Hicks. There are many things that I hope to accomplish when I'm an adult. I hope to be one of the few who try to make a lasting difference in the world. I've always been a firm believer in the principle of leaving things better than when you found them, and that is exactly what I want to achieve in the future. He is a gentleman of distinction president and the Red Springs Mission Camp volunteer. And his parents are Christopher and Kelly Hicks. And our other senior is Yanara Sanders. Imagine you're a high school student who works so hard throughout your school years to maintain a high GPA, only to find out your opportunity to attend a 4-year university will depend on your parents' income. As an adult, I would change the cost to attend colleges and universities. She's a volleyball captain and a volunteer at the Red Springs Art Council. Her parents are Willie Sanders and Yolanda Ross. And our junior is Shakoria Chavis. I plan to attend college and pursue pediatric oncology. I have seen firsthand how cancer can destroy a family, so I understand that the doctor a patient has during this heartbreaking time makes all the difference. I would like to be someone who's understanding and compassionate for these families in their time of need. She currently tutors 3 middle school students and is a member of the American Indian Student Association. Her parents are Bender Locklear and Joy Smith. And our final high school is St. Paul's High. Our senior is Moses Jr. Ramirez Hernandez. I'm proud of being involved in athletics. I'm able to play many different sports because I've always been active and ready. I'm also proud of my new mindset to not give up when things get hard. He is the National Honor Society president and a member of the National Guard. His mother is Yuri Vanessa Hernandez. And our junior is Kiana Love. The person in my life who I strive to emulate is my mother. She has all the qualities that it takes to be successful. She is direct, strong-minded, and decisive. My mother was near the top of her class, and she was also on the dean's list in college. She's a member of the National Honor Society and an active member of the South Lumberton Church of Christ. Her parents are William Shaw and Jennifer Love. Congratulations to all the students of excellence. Students will receive various items from the chamber organizations at their school or chamber luncheon. I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce members for their partnership with the public schools of Robeson County and efforts in this process, and the guidance counselors for their hard work and collaboration. Thank you so much.
Let me ask you this, Ms. Ballard, if you don't mind. I know this is kind of a new norm now, coming back and no mask and having people in the auditorium. At what point do you anticipate maybe trying to bring kids back so they can be recognized in person?
Well, when we decided to do the PowerPoint like we did last year
Right.
because of the closed meeting, and so we just kept it that way this year, but next year it should be in person.
Go back, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any
Thank
other
you.
comments or questions?
Thank you.
Mr. Gentry?
I'd just like to say, with all that's going on in our world, to hear these 2 positive upbeat reports, to hear these 2 positive upbeat reports on what's happening in my schools, in our school system, I am just beyond impressed and encouraged by what's happening.
Thank you, Mr. Gentry. Anybody else? Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is Brave Scholar Trust Project. Dr. Laurie Floyd.
Good evening.
Amen.
I'm using my teacher voice. I'm also encouraged. Thank you so much for sharing that comment, Mr. Gentry. It is always wonderful to see how our young people are progressing, and to know that this great work is happening right here in Robeson County is that much more gratifying. Colleagues, and I see you as my colleagues and partners, thank you so much for the invitation to join you today. I'm going to try to continue that upbeat spirit, right, with the information and updates that I have to share at the invitation of Dr. Williamson and your great leadership team here. My name is Laurie Floyd. I serve as the Dean of the School of Education at UNC Pembroke. And today we've got some exciting news for you, hot off the presses, actually, hasn't made the presses, but I've been given permission to share with this group. As a part of our update today, I'm also joined by my colleagues, Dr. Lisa Mitchell, Associate Dean, and our Dr. Leslie Locklear, Director of Educator Engagement and Student Success. So we've got some points to share with you. The items that we'll be discussing with you today are listed here on the slide. We are preparing for our national accreditation. So want to make sure that you're aware of that, and we'll come back to you at a later date with how you can be involved in that process. We have to submit a self-study report, a very comprehensive report outlining the work that we're doing, and we'll be visited next year, and I'm sure many of you will be invited to take part in those sessions. I'll also talk with you about our School of Ed strategic planning process. As you know, I'm in my second year of tenure as the Dean in the School of Ed, and we're fast at work, not only with initiatives, but making sure that all of the arrows are going in the same direction. I'll talk with you about Brave Scholars, and that's actually the title for the subline here on the agenda. Some great news there. We'll talk about Praxis 2 and continue with the items as they are listed here. And just a quick note about our strategic priorities. We have 6 strategic priorities that we're working with, and you see the category that you fit in is right at the top. That's not by accident. Our PK-12 partners, it's really important that we stay in regular and ongoing communication with our PK-12 partners out in the schools, as well as those who are leading the district. Student success, curricular redesign, diversity, equity, and social justice, faculty and staff support, and finance and extramural funding. As we click through, you see information popping up: leadership, retention, recruitment, accountability, data-driven. All of these help drive the work that we're doing in the School of Education. And that also includes professional development. So let's jump right into our great news with the Brave Scholars. The School of Education has been awarded a grant, a charitable grant in the amount of $2.1 up to $2.9 million. This grant will produce 30 teachers in elementary and special education over the course of the next 4 years. It fully supports the launch of what we're calling the Brave Scholars Program. Y'all, I'm excited. When we received news that we got this award, I shot off a text and email to Robert and Dr. Williamson there, and really began working behind the scenes. Let me tell you a little bit about Anonymous Trust. This was funded by Anonymous Trust. Kim Breeden, one of the program officers with the Anonymous Trust, said that it's personal for her. She grew up in Scotland and Robeson counties, and her mother, the late Dora Locklear Breeden, earned a teaching degree from UNCP and went on to teach elementary and middle school. Another piece to consider, this is the largest scholarship gift in the history of the School of Education at UNC Pembroke. The gift announcement comes on the 135th, y'all, 135th anniversary. Did y'all know we're celebrating Founders Day? 135th anniversary of the funding of UNCP, which was established for what? To train teachers. Y'all not excited like I am. Okay, to train teachers for the region. So this is monumental. This grant really follows the return of the North Carolina Teaching Fellows Program, which returned to UNC Pembroke this year. We'll admit our first cohort. And as a minority serving institution, we play a pivotal role in preparing highly effective, diverse educators who are equipped to succeed in rural communities. We pride ourselves on this work. Actually, State Superintendent Catherine Truitt chimed in about this award. She said, what did she say? She said that this historic gift would enable the state to continue building and growing the teacher pipeline. So we're doing our part. We know you need more teachers and know that UNCP is doing our part with that regard. I have some additional good news for you. We know that there are a large number of teachers being employed in Robeson County and across the state on limited licenses. Many of them are limited licenses because they've fallen short with their Praxis 2 exam scores. And so we're offering a Praxis Blitz. We're doing this in combination with Ron Hargrave and districts across the Southeast region. We are opening up our campus. We are opening up our building on March 25th and March 26th. There is no cost to teachers. Oh, now y'all, okay. So the table here on the slide shows the areas, the licensure areas that we'll be offering Praxis 2 support in. That information, Dr. Williamson, should be coming to your folks from Dr. Hargrave and his team, and they'll be handling the signups, and we'll be hosting on Friday and Saturday. So know that there are limited spots, but we plan to accommodate about 175. How many? 400. We're gonna accommodate 400. I'm gonna need a budget line for that. We're gonna accommodate 400 teachers. Yeah, isn't that big? Right. Wonderful. So we're gonna move the needle. We're gonna move them from limited licenses over to their permanent licenses. They're gonna be equipped, they're gonna pass that licensure exam. That's gonna change the dynamic of what's happening in classrooms every single day here in Robeson County and across the Southeast region. So I hope that's enough good news for you. But if it's not, hold on, because I'm bringing forward Dr. Leslie Locklear. She's the director in our new Office of Educator Engagement and Student Success.
So good afternoon. I just have a few points that I wanted to share with you, and you can go to the next slide. Just to give you an idea about how we are really transforming things in the School of Education, I now serve as the Director of Educator Engagement and Student Success. Previously, this office fell under University and School Partnerships. So we've done a revision, and I wanted to share with you just some ideas about how we are thinking future forward and moving forward with the School of Education and our partnerships with you all. So we are really looking to streamline some of our processes when it comes to placing our students. And at the bottom of the slide, you will see why we are working on streamlining our process on our end, because we have quite a significant number of placements in PSRC. We are also looking at working with our faculty to reassess what we term as field experience and really moving towards some service learning aspects to partner with our teachers and our schools to really serve and ensure that there's a partnership within our schools and not just on the outside district. I also wanted to invite each of you to take part in our pre-intern interviews. So if you really want to see the teachers that we will be producing in the fall, so these are your fall graduates coming out in December, we will be doing those pre-intern interviews the first week of April. So if you want to shine and see them shine, please reach out to me, because we would love to have you take part in those 30-minute interviews and let us know any feedback about our interns. And again, I wanted to share the current status of where we stand in our partnership with PSRC. We have 26 undergraduate and MAT student interns currently serving in your schools right now. And right now we have 250 requests for spring 2022 field experience. So at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, our students are really excited about getting into your schools, and we are really excited about placing them there and then funneling them also into that student teaching experience. And on the next slide, I wanted to share a little bit of information with you about money. So we all love to hear good things about money. So this is really particularly for those of you that work closely or have information that can be shared with high schools. We have worked with our Office of Advancement to really expand what it looks like for our scholarship program, especially those funds that are donor funded. So I want to encourage you, if you know any students that are planning to attend the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, even if they will be freshmen in the fall, the scholarship deadline will open March 15th and will remain open until June 10th, so they can be eligible for those funds. Also here on the screen are some other scholarship programs. We do give out over $25,000 each year in terms of donor-funded scholarship funds, but we also have the First Americans Teacher Education Program, which is funded by the Office of Indian Education, and also the First Americans Educational Leaders Program. Both of these programs work to prepare American Indian educators and school administrators to serve in our local community. We also have the Hattie M. Strong Foundation Scholarship, which provides $5,000 to a pre-service teacher during their internship year. You all may know that during your internship or student teaching semester, you basically work full-time and you do not get paid. So we are really excited about this scholarship opportunity. And then also we are bringing back North Carolina Teaching Fellows to UNCP. We are so excited. So our students right now, those that are moving on to interviews, they had 160 move on to interviews. At least 45 identified UNCP in their top choice schools. So they are moving on to interviews actually next week. So keep them in your prayers, and we're wishing them good luck and hoping they choose UNCP.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good evening. We can go to the next slide. I'm Lisa Mitchell, Associate Dean, and just wanted to reiterate some of the things we are doing to prepare, retain, recruit all these great teachers for our local school districts. One of our initiatives is with Branch Alliance for Education Diversity, and on the left side of your folder, you have our handout. We met with PSRC on Friday. We are partnering with PSRC and Scotland County Schools, following our graduates into their careers as teachers, and also looking at the data to better prepare our teachers at the college level before they get to you. So we will continue to work with that data set as we collect data this spring and prepare our report June 15th. Thank you. We're also continuing to expand our partnerships with our local community colleges. We have one student from Robeson Community College that is articulating to UNCP through the Associate in Arts and Teacher Preparation. She's in EDN 2100, our Introduction to Education course this semester, and will be transferring into UNCP after completing that course. We also have a signing with Southeastern Community College this Thursday to increase our teacher pipeline candidates. And our last slide with teacher pipeline includes our partnership with PSRC, Scotland County Schools, Richmond, and Montgomery County Schools. Right now we have a TA to teacher program. 6 of the PSRC teacher assistants are currently enrolled as elementary education majors. They're taking courses on weekends and through online instruction. Right now they're studying for the Praxis Core and preparing for those exams. And we are continuing to recruit for the next cohort to start this fall. Any teacher assistants that need general education requirements will complete those first, but teacher assistants that come in with an Associate in Arts or Associate of Science will begin their education coursework in the fall.
Craig, Were
Couple of
y'all, were y'all?
You have anything else?
Was she,
We just wanted to share as a part of our national accreditation that we need to hear from you. I believe these flyers are in the board members' packets that were just shared. We have to report out about what our alumni think about our program, what our employers think about our program, and we have to document that we've reached out to you and given you an opportunity to give us feedback. So please share this with alumni in the community. There's a link there, and there's also a QR code if you've got a fancy phone. Dr. Terry Locklear can show you how to use those. And they can scan the QR code, complete a 5-minute survey, and it really, really will help us in presenting the data that our national accreditors expect us to present. And I think that's the last one. We'll take any questions that you have at this time.
Mr. Larry's got the floor.
A couple of comments. A lot of the things, or all of them that you said, sounds fantastic. With, to me, UNCP going back to what it was, a teacher's college. And I want to make a comment. You bringing back teacher fellows, Dr. Floyd? Teacher fellows coming back?
Yes.
That's
Yes, sir.
fantastic. It should have never left. For my 2 cents, it should have always been there because it helped produce teachers. Now, March 26th, help me with this a little bit. The workshop you're doing then is for people that need to pass the praxis. Am I right on that, or give me
That
some
is
more input?
correct. The
Okay.
workshop on March 25th and 26th
Mhm.
are for teachers currently employed across the Southeast region, right? Southeast Sandhills region, right? Currently employed and have not passed their licensure exams, irrespective of who prepared them. If they are employed in our district and teaching our children, then they are invited to participate, and they will be contacted through their respective human resources licensure offices.
Okay, then, and my follow-up with that is whatever we have to do, because we know we get teachers every summer that haven't taken classes. They've taken all the classes, but they can't pass or hasn't passed the test. And this is an opportunity they can go out there and have a workshop. So I would just ask that whatever we have to do to go to each individual school and identify the teachers that need this test and make sure that they know this and really push. You might be doing that anyway, and push to get out there and take this class.
Yes, and we have been working on that list. If I make no mistake, we only have a limited slot. We have limited slots. So we're looking at our teachers to see those who are in the greatest need of taking the test. And we have been working on that list.
Maybe Dr. Floyd will give us a few more slots.
So we are collaborating with the region, and we're serving 14 districts. So we've opened up our campus in the building. I am putting money into the facilitators who will be leading those respective sessions, and we're providing some refreshments and things like that. So there's a huge need. What I can say is we're prepared with 400, right? And so how the region divides that up, that's kind of where the partnership meets in the road. But my associate dean brought to my attention the numbers, and so we already know that this is something that we're going to have to repeat. We just have to have the resources to be able to do that. So we're repeating that. You're welcome.
Terry Locklear's got the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Floyd, for this information. And I'd also like to, I'd like to have some of Dr. Lacey Locklear's energy, if that's if that's a possibility. I appreciate you coming tonight. You shared some numbers here on this first slide. It indicates that over 650 students were enrolled in an education pathway to licensure. And the overwhelming percentage of those individuals identified as that they were from Robeson County. About 20% or so will transfer in freshman students wanting to major in education. About 20% of them are from Robeson County. So it sounds to me like, well, I would imagine quite naturally that of the teachers that matriculate into the PSRC into our district, they're from the university. So my question is for us here, among the administration, as UNCP is one of our strategic partners. Do we track where our licensure employees come from? Is that something that we keep up with and track? I was just wondering, if not, it may be worth looking into in terms of strengthening those partnerships and relationships.
Jerry, you talking about where they come from, what college they come from? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Do you have
So-
any of that, Melissa? Do you?
Off the top of my head, no. I would need to look at that, Mr. Terry.
Mr. Gentry's got the floor.
Does the entrance to the pipeline also include teacher assistants who have as their goal to become a teacher?
Yes, we have several pathways to becoming a teacher, and we've created some very specific, innovative models for those who are currently teacher assistants and want to move into the full-time duties of being lead instructor.
Brenda?
Okay, I got it. Thank you all for working with us continuously through this pandemic and everything. I do realize, and thank you, Dr. Burnett, for posting on our Facebook page about the Luna. Everything that you're posting is good because I've been able to share it with some former students from UNCP that graduated from there, including my daughter-in-law.
Yes,
And
like and share
Yes, so
all of our platforms.
so when Dr. Burnett put all this here up, we'll be sharing it also. So thank you all for everything.
You're welcome.
Dean
Thank
Floyd,
you.
I would like to add that I also sent that out to all of our staff members. So all of our staff members that are alumni will have access to that as well.
To, what was that? I'm
All of
sorry.
our staff members that are alumni of UNCP.
Awesome.
So
Yes.
Dr. Williamson
I
got the
just
floor.
want to give you a gift. Thank you. That warms my heart.
Thank you, Dr. Williamson.
Dr. Williamson got the floor.
Dr. Robert, you might want to make a comment. I know you work closely with Dr. Floyd, and then our intent to bring back our teacher program in the public schools. Talk about that, please.
So one thing we mentioned at our collaborative meeting on Monday, and Dr. Floyd and I had a conversation afterwards and working with Ms. Jadell and the registrar, trying to reinvent our teacher cadet program. And Ms. Jadell, I can't remember the title that we're calling it now. Teaching as a profession. And we asked Dr. Floyd to partner with us to help us get this new initiative off the ground. So she is working with her team. And I talked with Ms. Jadell later on this afternoon. And so we are excited about the partnership and we're looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Yes, we're excited about PSRC bringing back the teacher cadet program in full force. It will really assist us in changing the narrative about what it means to become a teacher. And we're prepared to host those students on campus, in our dorms, and give some really specialized activities to those who express an interest early on to the teaching profession. It's the best profession out there. And it's the one that produced all of you guys, right? And you're rock stars. So we need more people to come in and help us produce more rock stars. The teacher cadet program is going to be a wonderful point of pride for us, and we look forward to that.
I also like to say, Dr. Floyd, thank you for your leadership and the impact that you've had at this point and that you're having in the public schools of Robeson County and Robeson County as a whole. You are an amazing leader, and we appreciate the partnership and the opportunity that you provide. Also, Melissa, I think I heard 26 student teachers that we need to have contracts ready for. Yes.
Yes, Melissa's on it.
Great, great.
She's on it, and so is Dr. Locklear.
Great,
Yes,
great.
yes, they're both on it. And then, as exciting as that part is, and I know I'm probably over my time, the second number was 250. 250 that are in the pipeline and haven't gotten to the student teaching point yet, right? So that's what all these scholarship programs and innovative ways of offering classes, if we can get that 250 to the end, we can really, really put a dent in what our schools are facing. So just know that we're in the trenches with you. We're excited about the work, and join me in thanking my team for joining me tonight.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the policy 3450 class rankings. Mr. Bobby Locklear.
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, board members. So for information only tonight, we discussed this at our last board meeting about revising our class ranking policy. So we've met and came back with a few revisions we would like for you to consider over the next month before we take action on this. So we have gone back in and removed some of the language that kind of tied our hands in terms of when we were ranking. So I'll just hit the highlights that we are proposing to change. We are adding the statement at the bottom of paragraph number 3 that says, in addition to recognizing honor and merit-based corps, graduating seniors will be allowed to choose one additional corps of their choice with principal approval. We've also added the language that coincides with our graduation requirements that students cannot alter their regalia at all. And in our discussions with leadership, one of the ways we feel to be more equitable with our students is to, beginning next school year, is to set, as opposed to having ranking at the end of the third 9 weeks, which we know grades are not completed at that point, would be to have ranking done at the conclusion of 5th semester for 11th grade students, and ranking to be completed at the conclusion of the 7th semester for seniors. So again, all of the other language would stay the same in terms of our honor graduates, in respect to cords, and also in respect to our graduation attire. What we're just asking for you to think about over the next month is looking at doing it at those 2 times as opposed to the time that we've currently practiced before.
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
May I ask Mr. Grady a question? Mr. Grady, since this was just a change in the piece, the minor part of the language, do we have to wait another month before we bring it?
Technically, you don't have to wait, but I think Mr. Bobby asked that you wait just to
Why do you want
have
us
the
to wait?
opportunity to review it.
So I'm sorry, Dr. Williamson.
So if you're prepared to vote tonight, we're asking to set policy aside and take a vote so we can start to get the
Now,
information
I
out.
can only speak for myself.
Right,
I've reviewed it and it's very fair, very clear, unless the other board members want to wait.
Mr. Gentry.
Mr. Bobby and I had a discussion earlier today, and I'm in accordance with the current wording. Also, I did observe in a section, well, not an entire section, but a possible revision in minor revision in the language in the first paragraph in red. High school principals shall provide for the compilation of class rankings to be listed on the students' transcripts and may make class rank information available periodically to students and their parents, guardians, and to other institutions at the request of the student or student's parent or guardian. I just thought that it might read more clearly to insert each high school principal shall provide for each student's class ranking, and to eliminate the compilation of class rankings. To me, that compilation implies in total, whereas each student's class ranking recognizes each student individually. And Mr. Bobby, I think we had some kind of agreement on that. What are your
That
current
could
thoughts?
be added if that was the pleasure of the board.
What's the pleasure? Dr. Emmanuel, you brought it up.
I I'm perfectly happy with that minor revision. This is, I'm speaking personally for
I
myself, but
understand. Terry?
So can we hear that entire sentence? Would it say something like high school students shall provide each student's ranking?
Each student's class ranking. High school principals shall provide for each student's class ranking and eliminate the compilation of class rankings. And in my opinion, that the compilation of class rankings speaks to the students in their entirety versus each student's class ranking indicates each student individually. And to me, that striking that phrase, the compilation of class rankings, and inserting each, meaning singular, each student's class ranking to be listed on the student's apostrophe S at the end of student transcript and may make class rank information available periodically, so on and so forth, rather
What's your
than
thoughts, Bobby?
speaking in total.
Bobby?
We don't have a problem with that. It still ends up with the same result.
yeah, it's like
That's the
splitting
bottom, that's
hairs.
the bottom line. Somebody make a motion to set aside policy.
Make a motion to set aside policy on class rankings.
Second.
Have a motion by Randy, second by Henry. Any further discussion? All in favor of set aside policy, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Let's go ahead and
Make a motion to approve the 3450 class rankings amended as Mr. Gentry presented.
have a motion by Randy, second by Henry. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. You still up there, Dr. Robert Locklear, 2022 high school graduations, Dr. Robert Locklear.
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, board members, just for information only, we have the 2022 high school graduation schedule. We placed that in your packet on Friday.
Hey, just a minute. Okay, that's action. I'm sorry. We're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So we placed the 2022 high school graduation schedule in your packet on Friday, listing all of the schools there to the left with their dates of graduation, and early college, of course, will be in May 18th at 10 a.m. And that will be on the campus of Robeson Community College there in the Quad area. And the remaining high schools will be held on June 10th. Fairmont, Lumberton, and Purnell, along with St. Paul's, will be held at 9 a.m. and Red Springs High School will be held at 10 a.m. And all will be held in the gymnasium. So if you would, please let Ms. Patty know your desire, which ceremony you want to attend, so we can have good representation from our school board along with our cabinet at each of our events.
Dr. Robert, the only thing I'd like to address is, of course, St. Paul's High School and Red Springs High School are in my district. And I try to go to both of them. And sometimes if you got one at 9, one at 10, it makes it a little tough. For me personally, I'm just giving my personal thoughts. So if somehow those two schools could move 2 hours or something, it'd be a whole lot. And that's just me personally. I don't know if anybody else.
You've also,
Go ahead.
Fairmont and Lumberton.
Yeah.
My schools feed into Lumberton, so, I mean, both of them at 9 o'clock.
Well, what those, may I say something?
Yeah.
What those guys do, the principals, so they make those contracts way in advance. And it's difficult to change them when they make those contracts with those venues to where they're going. That's the problem. They're changing the contracts and see if they could change the time. May could, but I don't know. In the past, they couldn't. They do them at the high schools, all of them.
On this paper, it look like all of them at the high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the sites are on the high school
But that
campus.
shouldn't be a problem.
It's still a problem to get from one, it's just point of reference. It's hard to get from point A
You're
to
right.
point B.
So
Craig's got his hand up. Craig.
I feel the same way. If there could be some separation, just me personally, I like to go to more than one. But when there's 3 at 9 o'clock and then there's an hour's difference, it's hard to do that unless you're gonna get up and leave one. So if they could look at that with 9 or 11 or something, since they are doing them, I think in the gyms, they did them last year and that worked out real good.
Yeah, we can bring it back with the high school principals.
And the
Address
one
the
other
concern.
thing, I know it probably had to be done quick, because now even though they are at their places, if they got programs printed, that's something would have to be taken into account, because you don't want to go in there and the program says we're starting at 9 o'clock, but you're starting at 11. That's kind of not looking professional. So there'd be several things would have to be looked at to make some changes.
And we can have that quick conversation in the morning with our high school principals.
Dwayne's got the floor.
Yeah, and Mike, I know it's tough. It's a tough situation right there, and I get it. But some parents are already aware of this and probably are already starting to make headway. And I know it's just a bad situation for whoever. I'm just saying, I just think it's a tough call, but when you have staff and everybody's already starting to work towards this right here, this is no disrespect, Mike,
Well, I understand. Listen, all I'm doing is bringing a point of clarification because this
you can't
may
be
not happen this year. I'm just talking, may happen next year.
Yeah, for
Little more
later
leadway in this.
reference or whatever.
Yeah.
But we can meet with the high school principals, chairman, and address those concerns.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
This time we move to the action items. I'm sorry, I got gas. Thank you, Dr. Williamson. I got gas and it was Brenda. Do you want you to handle it or you want Dr. Williamson to handle it?
I'll address from the district's standpoint, talk with Dr. Guzman. At this point, we do not have a supply issue. There's a meeting scheduled tomorrow with the Department of Public Instruction and local transportation directors, and we have more information at that time. But at this point, Dr. Guzman is saying we do not have a supply issue.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm also concerned with the cost that's on our employees also. We may have to advocate, I don't know how we're gonna do it, because they're saying next week $5. And that's gonna be rough. I know we went in a hole before with gasoline, Mike, if you remember. So we need to start advocating now to try to get some more funding if we're gonna be going 5 days, particularly for our buses or whatever we gotta do to get that extra money. And I wanted to bring that up because I put $85 in my gas tank this past week. That's a lot of money. Thank God I'm retired. Thank you.
Dwayne's got the floor.
No offense, you shouldn't have voted for Biden.
What? Non-affiliate.
Somebody say, Terry. Terry's got the floor.
I think at one of our finance subcommittee meetings, I'm not sure if it was a subcommittee meeting or one of our main meetings, we discussed the travel pay for APs in the county. And we discussed maybe taking another look at that. Is that something that we've gone back to or thought about any further?
We will, once we move further in the budgeting process for next year, we'll take a look. Erica will make a note of that.
Mr. Chairman, let me say, when I was saying the gas thing, I'll speak for all of our staff. We may have to end up going to 4 days. We don't know. But at least we're throwing it out there now so we can be looking at it. That's all.
Okay. Anybody else? Now we'll go to action items. 2022-23 school calendar, Dr. Glenn Burnett.
Good evening, Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, and members of the board. Tonight, we are asking you to approve our recommendation for the 2022-2023 PSRC traditional academic calendar and the early college high school calendar. If you will look in your board packet, you all have been provided with a copy of our proposed calendars, as well as a copy of the state calendar requirements. The traditional academic calendar was developed in consultation with a 19-member calendar committee. The traditional academic calendar was reviewed and finalized by the cabinet. The calendar was then reviewed by all principals within the district with no objections. Finally, the calendar was sent out to all district teachers and staff members via Google Forms. We received 539 responses, and the majority of feedback was overwhelmingly positive and in favor of the proposed calendar. I'll take questions at this time.
Wait just 1 minute. I got a motion for approval from Brendan. Somebody second. Second by Randy. Thank you. Now I had Terry's hand up first, then Mr. Gentry's, then Dwayne's. Did you have your hand up? Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure. Okay, I got you. Go ahead, Terry.
So when we sent out the calendar for, when we sent it out to let people vote, what were some of the options? Was it just the days or times, or what were some of the options that they had?
Where they were as an affiliate of the district, we made sure they read the state and the state calendar law, understood the calendar law. Then they were allowed to review it and then provide any additional feedback that they wanted to. Overwhelmingly, majority was this looks good or no comment at this time.
This is just me personally, and I spoke with some of the members of the administration before the meeting. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around students going to school in August and leaving to go on vacation in Christmas, and then coming back after Christmas, being out of school for a couple of weeks, and then coming back after Christmas and taking exams. That's just my opinion. And Dr. Burnett did provide us with some other district calendars for the 2022-23 school year. And there are a couple on here. It looks like Cumberland, maybe Anson, that do end their first semester in December. And I just wanted to point that out, if that's something that we would consider, or if that's any, if anybody's interested in considering that. As a student, I don't know how I would function, going home for Christmas break and then coming back and having to take exams. That sounds like a end of the year type thing, and you want to come back to school in January and start a new semester.
Dr. Williams got the floor, then Mr. Gentry, Dwayne, then Bonta. You good?
So like, we're bound by the calendar law, by the General Assembly of our start date and end date, so we don't have the latitude to create a calendar that would end the semester in December. You're not allowed to do that.
So
follow up with that?
Yeah, so Cumberland County is just they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing?
They may have a modified calendar, but they still have to honor that start date. I'm not sure. I think they have 160 plus instructional days, so I'm not sure how they're accomplishing that. But again, we're bound by the calendar law. We have to have 1,025 instructional hours. I think this calendar is, 183?
This has 1,100, so we have 75 banked.
Okay, got 1,100 hours on that. The minimum is 1,025. But again, we cannot ask the board to approve a modified calendar that would end the semester in December.
Mr. Gentry's got the floor.
Looking at the requirements, number 5 must have a minimum of 185 days or 1,025 hours of instruction. And looking at the calendar, student days is 176. What? Straighten me out on
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Robert. We do have 1,100 hours of instructional time, so we are meeting that.
We meet the requirement
yeah, right.
of a number
it's
of
an either or,
instructional
and we are
hours.
meeting that instructional hours.
Thank you.
Wayne's got the floor.
I would just like to reiterate off of what Terry was talking about right here, and something, I think at one time, Mr. Bobby, we changed, I think, the testing to before Christmas. At one time we tried that. Is that a couple of?
Go ahead.
Yes, a few years back, we changed it, but what actually occurred at that time we threw our semesters off because we had a short semester in terms of about 80 days. And then second semester ended up being, excuse me, right at 100. So when you start trying to get testing done prior to Christmas and maximize the amount of instructional time that students get, because we're really looking at two different groups. You're looking at the high school group and also the elementary group, that some kids are going to lose if we try to test prior to Christmas under this current calendar law.
And I think my main objective is, no offense towards you, Mr. Bobby, but we've got to quit. High school is in a boat by itself compared to elementary, junior high. Just want to piggyback off of this right here. Kids came back after Christmas and took exams. And as far as makeup exams and all of this sort right here, does anybody know when all the exams were finished at the high school level?
That's kind of,
So the testing window allows for us to test the last 5 days of the current semester for high schools. And then they have a makeup window that extends 10 days after that.
And just let me just say this right here, because I know of one. Lumberton Senior High School did not finish testing everybody not to the end of January. I think that's ridiculous. That's why I'm saying we need to work on testing these kids before Christmas. It just doesn't make sense to go on I just don't know who doesn't get it. I mean, you go on vacation and you come back, you test, and then it takes that long before anybody and everybody to finish testing. It's fresh in their memory. When they go back, they're not studying nothing but Santa Claus. When they get back, they don't. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, you'll get more out of the kids before than after. I think it needs to be looked into a lot more. That's just me.
I had Henry first. I got Henry, Craig, and Dr. Mann. Did you got anything? You done?
I want to piggyback off of what I'm hearing. When I go around and talk with teachers, they're saying the same thing, that they have a concern that we are testing after Christmas and we're not getting the truest accurate numbers that they feel that we should be getting, and that it would be more productive if we could find a way to test before allowing students out for the Christmas holiday. And also, I wanted to follow up and ask, in this calendar, I know we have two different calendars, one for PSRC and one for RCC. I just want to make sure. I knew last year we did have some conflict in our schedule, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I wanted to make sure that Dr. Clark was a part of this meeting and setting the calendar.
Yes, he was.
Craig's got the floor, then Dr. Mann.
A couple of comments. Mr. Dwayne, I will say, I agree from the standpoint we should do testing before we go home for Christmas. But a couple of years ago, when one of the problems when you get in here, when you got to start and stop, when they looked at it before, and I'm going to say calendars are based on high school, even though you have the exam there, it might not look like it. But what we ran into when we tried that the last time, and I might be exaggerating it, but the first semester had 75 days, and the second semester ended up with 100 days. So there was a bunch of days that the high school, or hours that those high school people in the fall, even though they were taking the exam, they didn't have opportunity for that instruction. That came up one time when it was tried. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bobby Mike can help, the year or 2 years we did try getting the exams before Christmas. When they went back and compared the actual results of the test compared to doing them in January, we didn't do hardly any better, if I'm not mistaken. But now the thought of having the exam before Christmas, I like that, but it just seems like when we've tried it, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. That's just the observation. I do have a question, and it's for this calendar and something we're going through now that happened a few weeks ago. on the calendar, and there's something on here for early college too, but on the regular calendar, and this is just pointing out for information now, probably be forgotten later, but just to remind folks, we got October the 12th and February the 15th. And both those on here are just designated now as half days. Is that correct, Dr.
Yes,
Burnett?
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm just looking at the regular calendar, and I think there's something like that on the early college calendar. Those half days, are we gonna get out at 11:30?
Students will, yes, sir.
Students will,
Yeah.
okay. My comment is if students are getting out at 11:30 those days or any other day, we cannot prepare a full meal at lunch.
Those students will be provided breakfast and a shelf-stable meal.
Okay. The shelf-stable meal, and it's, Ms. Charlene's here, and my understanding, Ms. Charlene, it meets all the requirements, but it's not like them going in the cafeteria and preparing a normal meal, because the time is not there from breakfast till getting out at 11:30 to do that. But they can get that shelf-stable meal.
Yes,
And
sir.
again, there's 2 days here, and there's a couple of days, I think, on the early college that would be in the same category. So that's just for information.
And to build on your first comment, with our proposed calendar now, the first semester has a total number of 89 days. The second semester has a total number of 87. So it's a little bit more balanced than.
Right. And throwing it way off.
Right.
Dr. Manuel's got the floor.
Okay, first of all, the calendar is made based on the high school. It's not reverse. Also, the principals voted, Bobby, you correct me, unanimously that they wanted the test after Christmas. And when they get back, they have review. How many days, Bobby, do they review for the test?
I'm sorry, based upon this calendar here, prior to testing starting, they would have 11 days for review.
So they do review 11 days when they get back after Christmas before they take the test. So the decision, this entity here, the board, I know we don't do it. We do it after they select it. But the central office do not make the schedule about the testing. It's the schools that make it. And those high school principals, the last vote that I heard of, they all voted to test after Christmas. It wasn't made by the central office. That we just voted on the calendar when the district decided which one they wanted. So that's the decision the high school principals voted on.
I got Dwayne, then I got Terry.
Was that, Dr. Manning, was that the high school? Was that the high school was that the high school principals?
When they had, Bobby, please correct me because I don't want to say something wrong. When they had the committee meeting working on selecting the calendar, the high school principals on the committee, they voted to test after Christmas. Am I wrong or right, Bobby?
So we did try testing prior to Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, at least 2, maybe 3 years, and just realized the results were not what they needed to be. And so the high school principals came together that following year, and it was unanimous. They decided to go back to January.
And that's what I'm getting to. And I'm not trying to beat nobody up, but the principals made a decision, not the teachers.
Oh,
But
I'm
I
not
can tell
sure
you
about
right
that.
now, the teachers want to test before Christmas.
There were teacher representatives on this testing calendar committee, so I can't see how they vote. Those people who were there, like Bobby and maybe Dr. Robert, they can tell you how the teachers voted. I'm not sure, Mr. Dwayne. Now,
That's fine.
Yeah.
You said the survey was sent out, Mr. Burnett, right?
Yes, sir.
How many people you said?
536.
Okay. You got the floor, Terry.
I'm sorry, let me ask you, was that high school or was that?
That was to the entire district.
That's what I'm getting to right there. You're not comparing apples to apples on this. High school has got to be a different entity from junior high, elementary.
I understand. And with that said, on our calendar committee, we actually had a high school principal who had his own input on that. I understand what you're saying about the teacher. Mhm. I don't know about through his teachers, but
Teachers don't want it. They want it before Christmas. I'll just leave it there.
Can I make one comment?
Wait just 1 minute.
Okay.
I'll get to you. Hold on 1 minute. Terry's got the floor right now.
I'm sorry.
In my mind, I'm looking here at this 1,025 hours of instruction. and it looks like we're bound to this Monday closest to August 26th. If you divide 1,025 hours of instruction by 2, in my mind, half of it is in the fall and half of it is in the spring. And that necessarily may not be the case because we're bound to this one day. Is that a true assessment? Because what I'm hearing Mr. Bobby say is that when we come back in the spring, we've got X number of days of review and then the exam. So it sounds like if we try to just split it right down the mid, or if we try to come back in the spring and start a new semester, it's just going to extend the school year, or it's going to make it. We're going to have some extra time in the spring. Is that what we're saying? Unless we do something with the school day or the hours.
Go ahead, Bob.
So that what you're saying, Mr. Terry, is correct. So if you try to divide if you're going to try to divide the hours evenly from the 29th to December 16th, what you end up with at that point in time, we only have 80 calendar days. So once you look at that and you take out your holidays, your teacher work days, those sort of things, you're going to lengthen a day for that period of time. So we only truly have 80 calendar days from August 29th to December 16th. And that's, again, not counting holidays, teacher work days, all of those things that are required by law for us to have within the calendar.
Brenda's got the floor, then Dr. Emmanuel, then Randy.
Dr. Burnett, Dr. Wilson, Mike, a few years ago with Hurricane Florence and Matthews, the state allowed us to build some time in. Is time built in because Robeson County got hit every time? Mr. Bobby, is that time built into our calendar because we did start that at one time?
Yes, like I said, we do have 75 hours of built-in instructional time with this proposed calendar.
And with that being built in, it still will fall, like Mr. Bobby said. It's to protect our school district. But not only that, my other concern was the Lumberton senior thing. There were a lot of students that were being tested in January. Some that came back from being COVID, and then we also had some staff that had the COVID. So they had no other choice but run over. And I'm basing it upon what the principal told me and some staff told me, because I understand what Dwayne is saying, but I was told that was going on. I do know some individuals that contact me personally, and their concern was that they did allow them to test.
Dr. Emmanuel, then Randy.
I'm just want the survey, because I know it went to elementary, middle, and high school. When it came back, Dr. Burnett, can you individualize, put the teachers in a category and the administrators in a category? I'm curious,
Yes,
trying to follow up what Mr. Dwayne asked you.
We can do that information. We can do
I'm
that.
just curious how teachers feel. I'm not saying you've got to do it. I just wondering if it can be done.
Because we divided the data by school and by what the profession was. So
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Randy's got the floor.
Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Who made the motion?
Brandon made the motion and I made the second.
Okay. And a motion by Brandon, second by Randy. Call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No,
Who said no?
me.
Dwayne said no. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is contracted services. Dr. Robert Locklear.
Okay.
Well, I mean.
It was concluded in
Yeah, I mean, that Brandon's motion, if I'm not mistaken, was
They just
to approve
voted.
the calendars.
They voted on it. And Dwayne was the lone, he didn't vote. He said no.
summer school enrichment camps. Dr.
You
Robert
wanted to
Locklear.
revote? You want him to revote? You want-
Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, board members.
Excuse me a second. Like to approve the summer school enrichment program.
Have Have a motion by Dwayne to approve, second by Brenda. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Got off easy than that. Next item is the contracted services, Dr. Robert Locklear.
Dr. Robert, you still up? You want me to go ahead and approve it, or you want me to let you rattle off?
Craig's got the floor. Hold on.
I'm gonna do this real quick, Mr. Dwayne.
That's fine.
It's on the papers, folks. We have, the public don't know this. With the summer school, it is 3 weeks,
Yes, sir.
okay?
June
And-
13th through June 30th.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the pay is what it was last year
Same hourly rate as we paid last year. That is correct.
for all those involved.
Social workers and
Everybody involved. is
Henry's got the
involved.
floor.
And also, Mr. Robert, would you just briefly explain why this session is going to be shorter than it was last summer session?
If I could make, Mr.
You got the
Chairman,
floor.
if I can make one comment, yes, the hourly rates are the same, but there is a big difference in the way it was handled last year. Last year, everyone was treated as a contracted employee and no retirement was charged. The employees did not pay their 6% and the district did not have to pay the match. That is not in play this time. So while the hourly rates will be the same, the employees will have to pay 6% retirement and the district will have to pay the match because they are not going to have to sign contracts as temporary employees.
Okay. We
So-
good now?
So to answer Mr. Brewer's question, it's shorter because of the funding. You know, last year we had additional funds that came in to our district. So this year we only have 3 weeks, which is 12 days, June 13th through June the 30th.
Dr. Williamson got
And
the
then-
floor.
And Robert, the General Assembly dictated the duration last year.
Right.
So we didn't have any choice. but
Exactly.
To run it for, what was it, 6 weeks, I think?
6 weeks, yes,
6
sir.
weeks.
7 weeks. And would read to achieve, you know, we have to follow the general statute, and that is 72 hours. With Summer Bridge, it's 50 hours. So we're able to get those 72 hours and 50 hours done within the 30, the 12 instructional days.
Dr. Manuel's got the floor.
Mr. Dr. Robert,
Yes.
tell me the scope of the employees. Is it teachers, teacher assistants, social work? Are you ready to go there? Are you ready to give me, I don't want you to give me a bunch of whole spiel. Just give me the list of people that will be able to work.
So this year, we are not employing social workers or counselors. It is for teachers. We will have some TAs for the K-3 area, bus drivers, cafeteria, nurses, site coordinators.
How about grants? Would you have grants? Because I was called and asked this. Will grants be implemented? In other words, those people working on the grants, will they be allowed to work?
Go ahead, you fine.
I don't think we can answer that question because we haven't even put the application out. So the application's going to be put out on the website, and it's not going to matter where the person's funding source is because we're going to use other funds to pay for that. So we really can't, we can't say that we're going to reach out to people that are in grants and say, yes, everybody's going to have the opportunity to apply, and then there'll be that process.
It's hard to imagine not having at least a counselor.
And I think the reasoning behind that is because we are focusing on the academics and
are.
trying to raise that academic achievement among our students. And
Dr. Williams got the floor.
And Erica helped me. Last year, we invested because we had the funds to do that, $11 million in summer school. Is that correct?
That is correct. With all of the legislative mandates, including the duration of the summer program, the required sign-on bonuses we had to pay, it was $11 million investment. And
Which-
we do not, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We do not have an additional $11 million to apply for a summer program this year.
Henry's got the floor.
I understand also, and correct me if I'm wrong, the amount of teachers that will be employed will be based on the student population.
Right.
So we must encourage our students to apply.
So, so the plan is, and Ms. Thompson and I spoke today, is to get the application out tomorrow morning for the staff. And then also the student application will go out tomorrow as well.
One more.
And so, and everything will be due on March 31st. So that way we'll have time to get everything processed and hopefully bring it back for the April board meeting for approval. And once, like I said, that cutoff is March 31st, we will not be able to accept any applications after that date.
I saw somebody, Mr. Gentry.
I have two questions. First, will there be a principal in charge of each site, summer school?
Yes, sir. We will have site coordinators at each
Same
location.
thing?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Same role. And the second question is the pay commensurate with regular year salary, or is there a difference?
Yes, it's higher. It's exactly what we did last year, which was a little higher than what we normally pay at summer school, than their hourly pay.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. It's already approved, okay.
It's already been approved.
Contract services, Dr. Robert Locklear.
Yeah, Chairman Smith, Superintendent Williamson, board members. Last month, you approved the OT contract. So we met with Mr. Grady, and so we would like to amend that contract so that the individual can provide virtual services for us.
Motion to
as well.
approve.
Have a motion by Dwayne, second by Brenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Next is Erica. Scheduling Solution, DSSF.
Good evening, Chairman Smith, Superintendent Dr. Williamson, and board members. I have included in your packet, there was discussion in the updates.
Dwayne,
Motion to approve.
who's second? Randy. Motion to approve by Dwayne, second by Randy. Discussion, Terry.
If I may on that, Dwayne, if you'll amend your motion,
I will.
because we are still working on maybe some minor changes. So amend your motion to say, subject to the final changes.
I amend my motion to what Grady Hunt said.
Thank you.
Second, Randy. Now Terry's got the floor. Then Mr. Gentry.
When can we expect to see some sort of report or some sort of update on how this is working if we get it in place?
The dates of implementation, I think, are going to start really soon, maybe April of this year. And then
Yeah, our intent is, again, the start date that we will have schedules completed by the end of May. And so that quick. And we'll provide that report of where we are with scheduling and the creative scheduling that we're trying to create for PLCs and planning time for teachers. But we're not in a short period of time. Our intent is to have all scheduling completed by the end of May.
Mr. Gentry's got the floor.
This obviously covers a lot of territory, and it is very thorough. And I was just wondering, does this company come with positive references and recommendations?
I'll yield to CIA for that.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gentry. We made several contacts based on the list they provided to us, and all those references turned out to be very positive.
Any other comments or questions? Have a motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passed.
Thank you.
Next item is monthly financial report. Erica Setzer.
Motion to approve monthly financial report.
Have a motion by Dwayne, second by Henry to approve the monthly financial report. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Craig?
Chairman Smith and Dr. Williamson, before we go into closed session, I have a comment I'd like to make. You know, when you're the greatest at something, that says a lot. And I read an article, it's been a month ago now, in reading my news one night, and it listed the 50 greatest power backs in the NFL. Now, 50 greatest, and you know how long the NFL has been around. Number 49 was Vontae Leach. So
Williams got the floor.
I would have hated to have been ran over by him.
Mr. Chairman and members, let me ask, you notice in your packet, summer feeding program that scheduled schools, and Kelly, you want to say anything about the schedule?
Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Williamson, Chairman Mike Smith. Yes, this is our list of summer feeding sites. I do know that some of the sites are going to be a little different than what the summer schools where the kids are going to be, but we plan to serve those students meals at those schools. So we will combine some schools to be able to service those children.
Any other comments? Henry?
Charlene, will this be on the PSRC website?
Yes,
The
sir.
schedule?
And on the child nutrition website.
Any other comments? Mr. Gentry?
If I'm correct, in the past, other members of the community, in addition to students, have been eligible to participate this at a cost, I think. Am I correct in that?
Adults.
Yes.
Children are not. It's 1 to 18. And from till June 30th, I do have the opportunity to operate the curbside. So I'm thinking of doing it at the high schools, allowing parents to drive up and be able to pick up meals for their students at all the high schools. Because of the other schools will have students on them.
Go ahead, Brenda.
I'll get used to it in a moment, okay? What about those areas that don't have high schools? You don't have to answer tonight. I'm just throwing it out to you, okay? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments? Randy?
I move that the Board of Education for the Public Schools of Robeson County go into closed session for the purpose of discussing certified and classified personnel, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 6, and to consult with the attorney retained by the board in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the Board of Education for the Public Schools of Robeson County, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 3. Can I get a second?
Have a motion by Randy, second by Brenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Turn in your
Second.
Have a motion by Vontae, second by Henry to come out of closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Have a motion by Vontae, second by Brandon to approve personnel as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion passed. Have a motion by Brandon, second by Vontae to approve closed session minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion passed. Is that it? And this time we'll have the public comments. First individual I had on the list was I don't know that I was just C2, but had a Laurie Washington. Is Laurie Washington in the house? Next person I have is Samantha Rosal. Samantha. Not in the house. Next person on the list is Mr. You're going to grade you keep up with time for me. Next person on the list is Mr. Doug McBroom. Says board leadership is his subject. You had the floor, Mr. McBroom. Got 3 minutes.
Board must show leadership. That includes accountability. The percentage of AIG students is under 6%, which is less than half the state average and 6 from the very bottom. There are about 1,000 students currently in the program. If it is doubled, we're still under the state average, but an additional 1,000 students will get the added benefit of the AIG program. Every year, doing nothing is hurting the education of 1,000 top students. It's no surprise that the past 5 years, the student population has dropped over 15%. People are tired of the district shortchanging their children. Good schools are always one of the top concerns families have when they want to relocate. Okay, so the question you need to ask yourself is, what are we offering these people to come here? Why do we want their kids? What are we going to do with their kids? Now, when it comes to the licensures, limited licensure, we have 70 limited licensure. That's the highest in the state. And the state average is 1.2%. We are 10.1%. That's ridiculous. That's also the highest, 8 times greater than the state average. Now, the 2020 cohort, 86% have not even attempted to take a test for licensure yet. 86% haven't even attempted, and this is their last year. Okay, I'm sure the superintendent can explain why that's going on, but that's one thing you guys need to really check into. Okay. The second part of that is the fact that policy 2420 clearly states that you will not adopt a policy until a subsequent meeting. Setting aside is only done when emergency conditions or special events when whatever's going to happen would happen before the next meeting. Okay, you guys keep setting aside policy. You don't do that. That violates your own policies is to set aside policy and pass something. You guys have done it forever. Stop doing it. Okay, period. Read your own policies. Follow your own policies.
Mr.
Especially
McBroom, what you need to do is you need to read the policy because clearly this board with a supermajority has the right to set aside their own policy. It's their policy, not yours. Just to understand and read the policy before you be critical. And
He's not supposed to talk while I'm talking.
Well,
He's done.
I've already done it. Okay.
So I'm going to reclaim back that time. Okay. And by the way, I have read the policy. I'll show it to you all if you want.
Well, you're not reading very well, so go ahead.
You got the floor.
And that's part of the problem. Okay. Poor leadership also is one of the problems, and that leads to lack of accountability. Before COVID, the district was $2 million in the hole. That falls on the board because you have the fiscal oversight. Firing Wooten and buying out the contract was also irresponsible because it shouldn't have been necessary. Okay, essentially, she should have been fired because she earned it. Okay, and there should have been ample documentation for why she was going to be fired. Past 20 years, the board has wasted $500,000 buying out contracts. Okay, and when the board's not doing its job to make sure that they're documenting all the problems, that's taxpayer money. It's not your money. It's taxpayer money. Several of you have been on the board for a majority of these irresponsible decisions, and some of you have been a part of it. The board should be an example of leadership. Instead, the board has actually become almost a laughingstock within the state when it comes to this kind of stuff. Okay, when all those statistics are good for this across the state, when it comes to any report, we seem to be at the bottom. When they come out reports, the
3 minutes
statistics are
up, Mr.
bad,
McBroom.
they're,
And that's giving you back the 20 seconds I took from you, so we're good.
okay, fine. If you don't realize the problems, then maybe you're part of the problem.
I got a question. Mr. McBroom, every time you come up here, what I have a problem with is I'm gonna talk on behalf of me. You don't know nothing that I've done on the board. You don't know what I've sacrificed and what I've done. But you know something? It would be nice if you would come here and try to help instead of smearing all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not trying to sound hard, but it would be nice if you would come here. But every time you come here, it's in somebody's face, and I'm tired of it. If you got a problem with me, I'll be outside when this is over with.
Oh, I'll be happy
Okay?
to.
But I'm tired of your slandering comments, and it's always toward everybody. And I'm pretty tired of it.
How is this slander? I can back every one of these things up. 6% AIG number?
That's the,
You asked the question of me. How dare you do that?
How dare I?
Yeah, how dare you?
Dwayne,
You need to run for a position. You won't get 25 votes. Sit down and shut
No
up.
wonder the arrogance is
You're an
that.
idiot. You're an idiot.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I have tried to ask you for help on stuff and you ignored it. Your response was, I didn't read your email, which means you don't read your own emails.
I told you to call me on my phone. You're not man enough to call me.
I don't have a phone number for you. Well done, sir. Well done. You proved my point more than anything I said.
You're an idiot. Get a job.
next person to speak is Jeff McNeil. Says reporting concerns by parents and staff.
Who are we working for? Good evening, Dr. Williamson Board. My name is Jeff McNeil and I'm from Walcutler. Thanks again for the opportunity to speak on behalf of thousands. When I say thousands, I mean thousands of parents and staff and students in the public school system. We have a few people on this board that I can say are doing everything possible to better our schools. Two of them by name would be Mr. Terry and Mr. Gentry. I won't name anymore. It seems these two names are talked about a lot. Terry brings a lot of numbers to the table. Maybe you all should listen to him sometimes. And that's not bashing y'all. As I've stated in the past, if you all continue to sit up here and choose sides to save your seats or benefit on the agenda, we will always have the same split when it comes to our schools and what's best for them. I've never been one to speak on incompetence or insults. And I don't want to take and break any policy, but I wholeheartedly believe if you applied as much effort to our school system, making them better, as you do try to save your seats, this would be the best school system in the state. We wonder why we have so much negativity and trouble in our schools. Teachers, staff, custodians, bus drivers are all afraid to voice their concerns for fear of retaliation of a sitting board member or principal or superintendent or someone in the central office. And some have even been told, be thankful you have a job. This part needs to stop before someone is sued for harassment or discrimination. And speaking of which, why are our districts divided by race? The racial separation, segregation disguised as representation of this board is ridiculous. We should not be dividing districts based on race. If that's the case, all the Jews, Muslims, Christians, KKK members, BLMs, and everybody else should also be included in the separation. Why can't we draw lines based on population of all the races, creeds, and nationalities and let those people in that district who care enough to vote choose their board member? Why can't we have representatives who care about all the students and staff and not just Indians, black or white or Hispanic? I was told by two sitting board members a few years ago that the board doesn't determine the district lines. Boy, was that a story. Now, I'll probably be bashed for saying someone's told a lie. That's not the way to handle this, Jeff. Well, can a board member or central office staff or someone else please help me understand exactly what the proper way is to handle a lie? I didn't single out Terry or Mr. Gentry as the best board members. I didn't call out other board members by name who have broken promises made to people. I simply addressed the names of people who have dropped in my inbox. And I have told the people, I hope they continue to fight with others who want to do what's best for the school system, and don't fall for the race-baited antics that have corrupted our schools for over 20 plus years. One more thing. Well, I did good. When you all are going to put the term limits on, when are you all going to put the term limits on yourself? Let's set aside policy, vote on that one tonight. And I hope we all can move in a positive direction for all our students and not just some.
Your minutes are up, Mr. McPhail.
Thank you. Who are we working for? Thank y'all.
I got a question. I'd like to, first of all, apologize to Dr. Williamson and apologize to everybody in here. But I'm tired of people coming up here, especially him, and it's all the time in your face, but he never brings nothing to the table and something that we can look at or something that we can do to try to make things better. It's always in your face all the time. And it's been going on month to month to month where it's turned into years. And I'm sorry, and I apologize to everybody, but I'm tired of it. Would you agree with me or not? It's okay. I'm a big boy, but I'm not going to sit up here and continue to be slandered by somebody like this right here. And I'm tired of it. And I'm going to go see if he's outside when this is over with. So let's get done so I can go outside.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Williamson, our cabinet members, our staff, I am very proud of the direction that this school district is going and the steps that we have taken. It's in one of the most positive way. And I speak for all you board members are awesome. And I greatly appreciate serving on the board members who really doing things for the students, superintendent, and our staff. I commend you very highly.
Let me say this too before you speak to Dr. Williamson. We can sit here and chit chat and all this stuff. I've been here a long time, and I'm proud to be here for a long time. And I try to do what's right. I always have tried to do what's right for the public schools of Robeson County for every child, no matter what race, gender, sex, whatever their beliefs are. I believe in that. I believe that, and I think people that know me can confide in that. One of the best things we've done was hiring this young man right here. When we hired this young man right here to be the superintendent that had 16 prior years of experience, come to this system and understands our dialect and how we operate. He didn't have to wait a year to hit the ground running. He came in with his feet on the ground moving. One of the best things we've done is when we hired Dr. Williamson to be the superintendent of public schools of Robeson County. And I appreciate everything and everyone that's in here. It takes all of us. It takes all of us working together and have a strategic plan. We're trying to achieve. We're trying to get off low performing. And what each one does at the table and what you contribute, I want you to know I personally appreciate it.
One question, and this is toward Mr. McNeil right here. I appreciate your compassion, but I like the way you present yourself when you come up here and how you try to talk and try to make us aware of things that we need to be working on right there. And there's a difference in coming up here and, guys, I'm compassionate. I see things or whatever, and I understand that. And I'm not taking up for him, but there's a difference in just the in your face all the time. And I'm tired of it. The man he's got my number. He won't call me. I don't have time to sit behind a desk and email and text all the time. I'm a grown man. You talk to me like I'm a grown man if there's a problem or something. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Dr. Williams got
I talk to board members about it. It's not me personally, but I'm a miss. Straight out, I'm a miss, but I represent the people. And everything that I ever bring to the board is always what somebody else is talking about beforehand. And a lot of times I agree with it, sometimes I don't. I just want to say that. Now, I appreciate y'all, you are moving in a positive direction, but we can do so much more. What I'm saying. Don't go outside. I gotta get in my truck. Y'all be good, God bless.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling me a young man. What an honor it is to serve with this board. I've been on board for a year plus. It has really been just an honor. We've worked together. We are headed in the right direction, and I appreciate all the employees of this district. But it is such an honor. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of boards, but I appreciate this opportunity. We're pulling together, we're working together, as was said tonight, the arrows are aligning and we're moving in the right direction. And just thank you for the privilege and honor. I enjoy it.
Thank you. A motion adjourned by Vontae, second by Henry. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passed.